apparently, Sam is in the chat, and update on her Sims game, because I guess the new Sims 4 expansion came out. Turns out a shelf in her weed shop has been causing a lot of problems.
Haunted shelf.
Yeah, those pesky shelves. Love them or hate them.
I hate shelves. I put everything in a cabinet, but it's just a single box. There's no divider. My fridge is just a pile. It's just a pile that's cold.
If I ever saw something like that, like if I went into someone's house and I opened up their refrigerator and there were no shelves, everything was just like in one big pile at the bottom, what would you do?
I'd turn around and leave.
Like, that has to be the sign of a serial killer.
No shelves. Or somebody that's so destitute they need to keep the food for them to eat, but they'll take the shelves out of the fridge.
It's like, what was so big that you had to put in here and take all the shelves? Oh, I never used the shelves.
I just never did.
Yeah, right.
I lead a frugal, minimalistic life. No shelves. Piles only.
Shelves. Who needs them? Springer, 2020. Uh-oh. We lost Melissa's camera, and she's back. Okay. We've been having some issues with your camera lately.
Am I frozen?
You are.
Now I'm gone.
Now it's the Skype logo. Now it's like a... Oh, now it's back. Okay. Let's get a move on with things. Because the audio podcast people are just like,
they
what
don't
the hell?
care.
What is happening?
As far as they're concerned, I've never had a face.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 75 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log, where we get together and hang out and talk about whatever. I think there's going to be a lot of Star Wars talk on this one, because there's Disney Plus stuff happening. There's this whole McClunky thing.
Whom is McClunky? Because you wrote this down and I took a look at it and I thought it was like the worst possible misspelling of Macaulay. It's like, oh, Macaulay Culkin back in the news. What's he up to?
McClunky Culkin.
McClunky Clunkin. From the all-robot production of Home Alone.
Yeah. No, so, there is a lot of Star Wars things happening right now. They just released the second episode of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. Have you gotten a chance to watch it yet?
No, I have been out of town most of this week, so I haven't hardly watched anything.
We will get to that in just a bit. But yeah, so there's The Mandalorian. The second episode came out today. And then on top of that, there's all the Star Wars movies up on Disney Plus.
Sure are.
I think all of them are up there. Yeah. And then last night, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order released, which is a brand new video game. I played the first hour and a half, and it's fantastic so far. I am loving it. But George Lucas is notorious for editing and re-editing his own Star Wars films. And as it turns out, there is yet a new edit that we have seen because of Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware that Han shot first?
I don't want to get into this argument. I don't think it matters who shot first. I don't know if I necessarily... And everybody's like, Han has to shoot first because that makes him cool. I don't want a hero who shoots first. I don't think that's a good attribute to have. I'd prefer it if he didn't, to be honest.
He shot first in the original edit, and then they changed it so he didn't. But the version on Disney Plus changes it yet again. So that they both kind of shoot at the same time, but there's also some new dialogue in that scene, and most of it has subtitles. But there is one scene where Greedo yells out McClunky, and there's no subtitles as to what that means. So it's just McClunky.
Is it like that? Is it in that cadence? Is it like an angry police chief demanding that the loose cannon cop put his gun and badge on the desk?
I haven't gone back to watch it yet, but apparently this is an edit that George Lucas made before the Disney acquisition, and they just never released it.
Sure.
And they just decided, hey, why not? McClunky.
I don't...
Sam, no, I am not aware of Bigger Luke. I don't even know what that means. I imagine like a cheat code in a video game.
Luke bigger. They just went in and made Mark Hamill like 3 inches taller.
What is this?
Slightly more broad-shouldered. What a concept. We're just gonna go back, make the main hero taller. I mean, as a human people throughout history, we get taller, as time goes on. Could you imagine years from now where like pretty much all of us are like, I don't know, at least 5'10" to start with. We're gonna go back to old movies. We're gonna see like black and white man shoot at you, the old cowboy film. And the kids will think, I don't believe this. He's so small. Who is the small child wearing a beard shooting a gun at us? I don't buy this. And they're like, we have to make the man bigger. We have to upscale him for the times. Humans keep getting taller. So must our films.
That's funny. So I looked it up. Bigger Luke is a conspiracy theory within the Star Wars movies. There have been many elaborate theories as to why there exists a larger version of Luke Skywalker in the original Star Wars films. However, most theories fall into two general categories. The canon Luke hypothesis, sometimes simply the bigger Luke hypothesis, in which it is theorized that within the Star Wars universe and canon, there does indeed exist a version of Luke Skywalker that is slightly larger than a posited regular Luke Skywalker, or Luke Prime.
Okay, slow down. Okay, hold on. So in the original film, like the first one that like my parents would have gone to see in the theaters in 1977, is he regular or is he big? Did they shrink him or grow him over time?
Let's see. Why is this Luke? I guess originally he's larger?
They made him smaller.
I don't know. So I'm looking at... Oh, God.
Well, in other news, I found an answer about McClunky. It is a Huttese word that can be roughly translated as, this will be the end of you. Hence why it's funny and ironic that it was Greedo's last word directed towards Han Solo. The same word was spoken by Sebulba in Star Wars The Phantom Menace when young Anakin Skywalker stops him from beating Jar Jar Binks.
Didn't he say something like Juba Pizzoya? He was like Juba Pizzoya.
That's
I don't remember.
Watto. Sebulba's a different guy.
Sebulba's the pod racer.
He's the
He like walks on his
yeah.
hands, and his feet like stick out.
He's kind of dangly. He's a dangly
Yes,
fella. Yeah. Okay.
No, but yeah, he says something when he loses the race. I don't know why. For some reason in my head, it's always been Juba Pizzoya. I have no idea if that's true or where that came from. But in my head, that's what he says. And then there's Annie. That's Watto. But yeah, so there's like visual evidence on this website that I'm looking at, which is biggerluke.wiki.com
/ Bigger Luke. I am here also. Okay.
Oh, and there's whole stuff of like, aren't you a little short for a stoom trooper?
Storm Trooper.
You can't even be a full storm trooper. You're a stoom trooper.
Stoom.
It is believed by supporters of the canon Luke hypothesis that Obi-Wan's line shortly after Luke first succeeds in blocking the training remote shots, "You've taken your first step into a larger world," is evidence of Obi-Wan's knowledge of there being a larger Luke Skywalker. Dog, this is like Bigfoot. There just exists a larger Luke Skywalker.
I'm trying to find what exactly is the ratio, because there's a side by side, and like I ain't so good with this, but like what? Bigger Luke is like 2 inches taller, if that.
Yeah, it's not much. At least it doesn't look like much. This is ridiculous.
This is delightful. This is the thing about Star Wars, is that stuff like this, or like Jar Jar Binks is secretly like an incredible Force user. Like conspiracy theories like this are so hysterical, but also so exhausting to me. This is the reason why I stay exactly the distance away from Star Wars that I am. I know enough to know these things, but not deep enough. Like I don't want to get in a single argument about Star Wars. I want to get up to the argument line in knowing things about Star Wars and no further, please.
Yeah, like I don't actually care about like a bigger Luke theory or what McClunky actually means or stuff like that. I think for me it's a conversation around art and the artist and the consumer, and does it ever leave the artist's hands where it's just completely done and it's no longer theirs? It's an interesting conversation to have.
I have to say that for all of his tremendous wealth that George Lucas has, I think it's kind of quaint and charming that what he wants to do with this wealth is go back into this movie he made as a young man and say, I always wished I could have added more rocks, and now I can. I can afford all the rocks I want. There are the rocks. Like, it's unnecessary, but in such a kind of lovely, simplistic way. It's like, you know what? Just have all the rocks you want. Like, you ain't hurting anybody. No harm has been done. More rocks. More weird CGI song and dance sequences in Jar Jar and Jabba's palace. I don't mind. I don't care who shoots first. I'd like you to die peacefully eventually.
Yeah. But yeah, so I have seen the first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian. I watched the second one shortly before we started recording this. Got home and watched it while I ate my food. Mm-hmm. I'm loving it.
Good.
I think it's pretty fantastic. It is it is one of my favorite tropes but I
Okay.
can't say what that trope is because that kind of spoils something
Okay.
in it. But yeah, there is a nice surprise that comes at the end of episode 1. People have been saying it's a twist. I don't think it's a twist. It's just a reveal.
Okay.
But I'm liking it. So
Good.
far, it is definitely very different. It looks fantastic. It looks like Star Wars. It's very influenced by Westerns and stuff like that. Like, it opens up with the classic, like, he opens up the saloon door and he walks in and it goes silent. They're just like, hey, you made me spill my drink. And then he just pew, 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 pew. And then he's like, wow, that's badass, man. So yeah, it's good. I'm liking it.
All I've watched so far, I just watched the first episode of The World According to Jeff Goldblum.
How's that?
It's so fun. My mom was over because her kitchen is being remodeled, as previously mentioned, where my dad is trying to get the people he's buying the granite countertop from to give him the hole they have to cut from the sink.
Yep.
Because he's like, I paid for the whole slab, give me the hole. So the kitchen's being remodeled, so she was over here this evening baking something. And I put that on thinking, this seems like pleasant, family-friendly content for Mom and I. It was a great time. It's just Jeff Goldblum picking something he's interested in and he wants to learn more about, and he just, wanders out there into the world and he learns about it. And the first episode is all about sneaker culture.
Okay.
Which I don't know about. And Mom doesn't either. It's one of those things that we know my nephew likes, but we don't know any specifics about it. Where it's like, oh yeah, sneakers of some kind. Aiden's into those. So I'm like, let's put this on and see if we can learn any fact we can take back to Aiden and impress him. We have not yet. It's really fun. It's charming. And I was listening to a Disney podcaster who does a lot of Disney YouTube videos, and he's like, the editing on this is great. Like, there's no plain and simple B-roll. Like, all of the graphics they put on screen, everything they do to the archival footage they're pulling out for something, like, they've done something with all of it. Like,
nice.
Even the littlest things seem really creative, which is nice. So I've just watched that, and the first 5 episodes are so weird.
Of
exactly
course.
like I wanted.
That's what I was expecting. Yeah.
It's better than I remember it, actually.
There you go.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised how legitimately spooky it is. And I don't know why nobody talks about this show, because I think it is better than Goosebumps, better than Are You Afraid of the Dark? Erie, Indiana, haven't seen in a while, couldn't report on. But so weird, really good.
There you go.
A lot more creativity in there also than you would have suspected. Like, you can tell the budget is so thin, but they make it work for themselves. They're still compelling, supernatural, and spooky narratives for a young adult audience.
So, have you gotten a chance to, like, put things in your watch list yet? Of just, like, I'm just going to fill this up with stuff.
No, I haven't.
No?
No.
Ah, damn.
I just told you everything I've done. I set my profile picture to Perry the Platypus. What's yours?
Okay. Spider-Man.
Ah.
Mine is Spider-Man. But yeah, I started putting stuff in my watch list. There's still some things kind of about the app that I am like, this feature is missing.
I'll say this.
Feature is missing.
Just like with Blade Runner 2049 or whatever it is, the font is real small.
Yeah. It's pretty small. It would be nice if they had some more accessibility stuff so you could change the font sizes or something. The thing that I noticed that was missing was so you open up the app and it's kind of your typical streaming app where it has like where it has rows of different sections of like, hey, here's Marvel stuff, or here's like exciting family films, or here's, stuff like that. It does not have one for your watch list. You have to go into the side to view your watch list, and then it does not have a jump back in thing of like, hey, you were just watching Star Wars Rebels. You left off on episode 3. Yeah, no, like they don't have that.
I wonder if there's
strange.
I wonder if there's something where they can't add certain features or not add certain features in exactly the same clean, convenient place you're used to seeing them, because that makes it too similar to Netflix or something, where it gets into a weird area where like, okay, we know these are the features people are used to, but you cannot just copy the interface that closely. You have to put keep watching somewhere else, or else it gets into this like legal area of, nope, that's where we put ours. And I don't know if this is like copyright things or anything like that, but like this is something I've run into. Like at work, we use 2 different journal management programs. And I'm like, why does this have this feature and the other site doesn't have this feature? We're like, we really need it. And they're like, the 2 sites like have to be dissimilar to each other for like, more like legal competition stuff. Monopoly type reasons. Yeah. Like you can't just copy over every feature that an audience loves. It's unfortunately not that easy.
Netflix puts that like right at the start. Like when you open up, like it's that like first or second thing. Yeah. Like it'd be kind of neat to have like a keep watching tab, like just slightly above this stuff. If it has like a hint that there is something else up that way, you can just be like, oh, keep watching this stuff up here. Yeah. Something like that would be neat, but who knows?
Yeah, I was surprised to see it missing, but again, there might be all kinds of logistical reasons behind the interface like we have no idea about.
Yeah, I think it's very much its own thing. I don't think it's looking too much like Netflix or stuff like that, but something like that would be nice. And I don't know if they have some kind of algorithm to recommend stuff yet, of like, hey, you've put all of this stuff in your watch list, you might also like this stuff.
Yeah, like, there's a Spider-Man cartoon you forgot about.
Yeah, like they kind of have it when you are on a specific show. Like if I go to the X-Men cartoon, they'll be like, hey, you might also like, and it'll have like 6 things there. Yeah. But there is no like section of just like, hey, based on what you've watched or what you've put in your watch list, you might like these things. So my parents are excited about it. To oddly enough, my dad was like, oh man, I really hope they have this one film. And of course they didn't have that one film that he was looking for.
What was it?
It was, I don't remember the full name. The Scarecrow of something Marsh. I don't know. Let me see if I can look it up. Disney Scarecrow. The Scarecrow of Romney Marsh. There you go.
I love Romney Marsh. He's so great in Mr. Robot.
Isn't he some kind of political figure?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just trying to name any name that sounds like that.
Yeah, so they texted me and they were just like, oh, we're having a lot of fun with this. All of these old films are fantastic. My mom is into the National Geographic stuff, so they're having fun.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So So you went out to Chicago.
I did. I went up to
This is-
that cold, tall city.
This is like the second time you've been up there in like a month, right?
Okay. So first, months and months ago in the spring, my friend Trina said the Adventure Zone's going to be in Chicago. I've never seen them live before. Do you want to go with me? And I'm like, okay, sure. I've seen them live before. It's a good time. I'll go with you.
Now, for people
And then-
who don't know,
Yes.
what is the Adventure Zone?
The Adventure Zone is a podcast where the McElroy brothers and their dad play Dungeons and Dragons and other tabletop RPGs together.
Okay.
Their live shows are an absolute riot. And for this one, spoiler alert, so normally they do like one-shot adventures from within the campaigns they've been running for the live shows. They don't do like legitimate ongoing like narrative content. It's just fun side adventures. But lately they've been doing more like completely original one-shot adventures that aren't connected to anything else they've been doing.
Okay.
So this week we got a really, really wild new and original Christmas story.
There you go. That's
It's
fun.
something. It was definitely worth it. But then a couple months ago, my very favorite podcast The Ride, announced they were going to do a live show in Chicago. And I'm like, I have to see them. Like, I don't care how much money or time it takes. I have to go see them. Those are my boys. So I've wound up driving to Chicago twice in 1 month to see a live weird comedy podcast I have to explain to other people and then turn right around and go back.
How long of a drive is that?
Google Maps says 5 hours, maybe
Oh, okay.
6-ish.
That's not that bad.
Yeah, it ain't bad. The landscape's kind of boring.
Did you spend the night there?
Yeah. Okay. So my friend had booked us an Airbnb and we're double checking the details and everything a couple days before the reservation. And I realized she made it for the wrong day.
Oh, no.
She made it for Tuesday night instead of Wednesday night.
Side note, sorry. Did you see that big long article on the Airbnb scam thing?
She
that
did.
was
This is
happening?
why we were double checking the details on everything. Because she's like, this says it's mostly run by couples. We booked from a couple. If you go way back in the reviews, it lists a different couple's name. And I'm like, well, maybe it just like changed hands. Maybe it went from like a sister and her boyfriend to her sister and her boyfriend. She's like, no, I don't know. If it changes hands, I think it's a different property listing altogether. And so like she was paranoid, and that's why we were combing through this entire thing. And I'm like, wait a minute. We don't even have the right date for when we're going to be up there. So we had to cancel it anyway, because like these, we're willing to give it another
sucks.
shot, but they didn't have the night we needed available. So instead, we found, this is super cheap. So we needed to stay on Wednesday. It's Saturday when we're looking again for hoping to find another Airbnb. And it's actually close enough that we found a lot of really good deals. I think because people are just trying to like, they're 5 days out. Can I fill the room? Can I get it for $40?
More people canceled. Yeah. So
Yeah,
they're just like,
yeah.
I need to make up something.
Yeah, I'll give it to you at 40% off or whatever. I just want to see if I can fill Wednesday. So we stayed in this beautiful old Victorian mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that had like, it was full of all these rooms. It's like 3 stories tall, and like every individual room was rented out to somebody different. And you shared like a bathroom and kitchen space and all of that. But like we weren't there for very long. We hardly ran into anybody. Yeah, and like it didn't give us a lot of opportunity to explore the rest of the house. Like it had like a parlor with a pool table and an aquarium in it. We didn't even look at the kitchen. We really just saw our room and the bathroom, but it was gorgeous. Just beautiful old house with like a fireplace and like a giant old king-size bed. It was luxe living for like real
awesome.
dang cheap. Yeah.
That sounds fantastic.
I recommend it. It was a good time. Yeah, so we just drove up there, went to one museum, went to the show, ate brunch in the morning, and it immediately came back.
So
I think
tell me more about the show.
The show was good. They just so they're in this huge old historic theater and they sold it out, which is actually pretty common for them. They're really popular. They do sell out a lot of shows. So this is beautiful old like art house 1920s like glamorous art deco theater. Just you stare up at the ceiling and it's all like gold crown molding and murals of the muses or whatever.
Sure.
And the name of their tour is Become the Monster, because the McElroy brothers every year come up with a motto for this year that's sort of like their mantra. And this year is Frankenstein-teen. 20 Frankenstein-teen. Become the monster. And so that's what is written on this like old letterboard marquee outside this historic theater. The Adventure Zone, Become the Monster, sold out. And I'm like, just what a combination of words for a passerby to just have to reckon with. Like, that doesn't string together into a cohesive sentence to anyone who doesn't know what's going on.
Right. So besides their like one-shot different campaigns that they do they use that theme to kind of help inform their decisions in the game?
No, No, they just so these guys, they have two podcasts. There's the Adventure Zone, and then there's My Brother, and Me, which is just the three boys answering advice questions.
Sure.
Sort of. That's the very loose premise of the thing, and that's the show where every year they're like, what's our motto going to be? What are we going to think about this year? And they only really talk about it for like 4 episodes out of every year. But, you know, they just needed to name their tour something. So they're like, it's the Become the Monster tour.
Okay.
Us the year 20 Frankenstein-teen.
It's a stupid name. Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I in my head, I imagine them being like, it doesn't matter what the campaign is.
We have to think the way Frankenstein thinks.
Well, just like, let's say they pick the campaign first and they have all of that stuff planned out of like, we're gonna play this game for 6 weeks or something, who knows. But if they name their tour Become the Monster, that like somehow informs their characters of like, they're gonna cause more mischief in that one because they're like, I'm gonna be the monster in this one.
Oh, that's the setting they already come at. I don't know if they could be more monsters than they already are. That so many people are there in costume, like everybody's cosplaying as characters. That's
awesome.
It's like we sit down in our seats and we got really good seats somehow. We're in like the 8th row or whatever from the stage. And like the girl sitting in front of us like turns around and just hands us like, I don't know if it was a sticker or a temporary tattoo or what, but it had been printed out of like the logo from this organization that the characters work for in the first big D&D campaign they played. Just like handing out something with the logo on it. Again, I just took it and was like, wow, cool, and put it in my bag. And I don't know if it was a tattoo or a sticker or what. This sounds inauthentic.
So deadpan. Just like, wow, cool.
No, I was delighted to have the thing. I was exhausted, Kyle. I woke up at 5 a.m. I did all the driving. I'm trying to book it. I got to get us to our museum reservation. We have to eat. We have to have enough coffee in us. We have to get dressed up. We have to go to the theater. I don't think I've ever had a relaxing trip away from home in my whole life. They're always like, okay, this is
hectic, nonstop.
This is pedals to the metal, every single one of them. So I did legitimately appreciate the thing and then put it in my bag to think about later. And that time hasn't come yet. So I can't tell you if it was a temporary tattoo or a sticker, but it was one of those.
That's funny.
I'm sitting there in the audience and there's like 2 bearded guys a couple rows in front of me. And again, I'm very tired. And like some like little light kind of distantly pops on in the back of my head and I don't really think about it. And then at intermission, I see these 2 guys like standing up and like a bunch of other people are coming up to them and talking to them. And I'm taking a second look at them, like a good hard look. And I'm like, oh, that's not just any bearded dudes. That's
it's
Arnie
ZZ Top.
That's Arnie Niekamp and Adel Rafai from Hello from the Magic Tavern, which is another one of my favorite shows. They are Chicago-based improvisers. And it was
sounds
wow.
like you're gonna be going back up that way to go see them live next.
I want to see them live. Like the rest of the shows I really want to see. I'd love to see Hello from the Magic Tavern, Hey Riddle Riddle, How Did This Get Made? That's like a long-standing old favorite of mine. That was like in the first dozen podcasts I ever started listening to. Uh,
There you go.
Lots of them. I don't even, like, I think those are my top 3. I can't think of any more off the top of my head, but yeah, this is all I've been doing. I think all of the trips that I have taken in my adult life have been to see a podcast taping or a comedy festival or one time I went to a music concert. But it's mostly live podcast shows that I just jaunt around the Midwest trying to go find.
That's not bad, though.
Yeah, it's a good life. And we went to this museum that's just like, it's
called... about to ask you about
It's
that.
called Wonder with all the vowels taking out, so Wunder,
They
I
couldn't
suppose.
afford a vowel.
Well, this is the modern thing that the youth do now, Kyle. Vowels are old.
They were like, I'd like to buy a vowel. And they said no.
In this economy, none. So WNDR is the name of this museum. And it's all interactive, like, art spaces that you walk through. I love this new form of museum, finger quotes, because it is less about walk up to the wall, look at the art, walk around the sculpture we've placed in the middle of the floor. It's like we've really contorted the space around you. Every room you're going to walk through is going to look and feel and sound completely different. You can touch things. It's all about the sensual, not sensual, sensory visual experience. I wouldn't mind a sensual
museum
experience.
were you going to?
I would not mind a sensual museum. I don't know. They did have a couch that looked like a big pair of lips. So I guess that's as sensual as it got. But yeah, it's like meant to be Instagrammable, but also it's, you know, for your own eyes as well, not just for the eyes of any followers you may have. Just walk around and be in there. Yes, they're very experiential places. And so there was like all kinds of like light and sound rooms. We went into this one room that had like it was all dark and there were mirrors all along the walls. And you step on the floor, and the floor is this, like, digital screen that reacts to your step, and it has this, like, kind of, I don't know, like, if you dropped paint in water, it's, like, not a ripple effect, but it just sort of, like, swirls and blooms around you every step you take, and it lights up, and it's the only lights in this dark, mirrored room. They've got one of those big, small rooms. Speaking of big, Luke...
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Did you see Big Luke in the big small room?
It was just me and her. You know, it's one of those big small rooms. You can see it like a Ripley's Believe It or Not museum, where like it's angled and it's got that like forced perspective. So like one of you looks real big and the other one looks real small, and then you swap and you walk to the other corners of the room, and then you know they're small and you're big.
You're like, what? How did they do that?
I can't touch the ceiling anymore. I am but a mouse woman. I am a borrower. They got one of those. There was an area where they would take your picture and put it up on this digital screen that has like a frame around it. So it's styled like a traditional portrait gallery, but everything is a screen with somebody's photo on it, like the photo of somebody who's come to the museum. So there's like a picture of us in the screen, in the frame, and then us standing in front of the picture of us, which is very meta, and I liked that. They've got a mirror room, like one of those infinite mirror rooms, all mirrors, just mirrored orbs all the way around. And they take it very seriously. You have to put booties on your feet before you walk inside. You're not you can only be in there for 60 seconds. You're of course not allowed to touch anything.
Do they have a cardboard cutout of Keanu being like, hey, you have to be gone in 60 seconds, or whoever was in that film?
Well, let's see.
I'm like talking out of my ass, being like, I hope that was Keanu.
I don't think it was. Okay,
God
gone
damn it.
in. It's Nicolas Cage. You just named another
Even better.
another man with a long face. Nicolas Cage, Giovanni Ribisi, huh? Angelina Jolie, Chai McBride, Christopher Eccleston. There's real
now
people
they have
in
to
Gone
have
in
a
60
cardboard
seconds.
cutout of him just being like, you have to be gone in 60 seconds, my dude. However he sounds like. Whatever Nick Cage sounds like.
I'm the black and white Spider-Man. He sounds like he just woke up and he's very thirsty. I don't know what Giovanni Ribisi sounds like. He's quite a chameleon. Yeah, there's a mirror room. There's a cool area where they give you a colored slip of paper and you write whatever message on it you want to write. And then you fold it up and they put it in a pneumatic tube and they shoot it up towards the ceiling and it flies out and it catches on this net. So you look above you and there's this huge net strung across the ceiling just covered with like little pieces of paper where people have like written a cute message and it just lives up there on the net.
There you go.
It's difficult to like walk you through this place that is so entirely visual, but it's so worth it, Kyle. You got to get out there and you got to live the museum life. There's so many places for you to be.
Live the museum life.
You know, you could be in an interactive exhibit. You can take all these cute Instagrammable pictures of yourself. You could be in a spaceship or a mirror void. Any place you want to be, a museum has it.
Yeah. There's a couple museums here in Richmond.
A couple.
Yeah, there's the like Edgar Allan Poe Museum. I think it's super small. It's just like one room, some guy's house. I don't know.
I don't know about that.
But then there's a lot of like history stuff. And of course, being like the capital of the South, it's a lot of like history stuff.
You can
I'm
go
not necessarily interested in.
You can go to a Frank Lloyd Wright house. You can look. There's the African American Heritage Museum, an Air Force memorial that looks very tall. A caboose. You want to go to the Alberta caboose, Kyle?
We also have a science museum there. I've never been in there.
There's a tank museum. It's just a big green room and it's filled with tanks. Just look at some tanks in a big room painted the same color as the tanks.
Is that supposed to be camouflage?
I don't know. It's green. Well, it's just a big green room full of tanks.
There you go. No, I know we have some kind of science museum that I think is more of like a children-oriented science museum.
Well, here I am on virginia.org/directory/museums. There's 7 pages of museums you guys got.
There you go. We also have an art museum here in Richmond that I've been to a couple times.
There's whatever the Association for Research and Enlightenment is. You can go to a place called Bacon's Castle.
Bacon's Castle.
Bacon's Castle.
I would go to a castle if it was made entirely out of bacon.
It's bacon possessive. It belonged to a bacon.
Francis Bacon?
I don't know. You guys got a planetarium. Planetariums are always cool.
I've been to a planetarium once. I think I was bored.
Well, you didn't do it right.
I was in like 3rd grade, 4th grade, so I was not in.
You guys got a cider museum.
Cider museum.
Cider. Camera Heritage Museum. Just a room full of cameras. I don't know what you're doing. It's just staying inside your room all the time over there. Look at how much of Virginia there is for you to explore.
Warm. You don't have to stand or walk.
I found a second planetarium.
It's too many planetariums.
No, there's so many stars. I think 2 planetariums per state is appropriate. Chrysler Museum of Art. This one's free.
There are some good date spots, though.
Yeah.
They're
Take a date to a museum.
It'd be fun.
Nothing more romantic than a planetarium. That's why you guys got two Virginias for lovers. It needs two planetariums to sustain all that romance.
So much romance, it's out of this world. We had to have two planetariums. Great. So have you seen the new Sonic trailer?
I did.
Do you remember the old one?
I had forgotten, but I saw a side-by-side, and this new one sure does look more traditional.
Yeah. So much better. I don't know what happened, or like just so I want to know that story. Like, I want a documentary about this film. I will absolutely watch that. Because I mean, who would have thought that design would have made it? Because it looks really bad.
It looks,
and then they were like, okay, hold on, we'll fix it. We're so sorry.
Okay. So I don't know anything about Sonic. He eats chili dogs.
Mm-hmm. Runs fast.
Yeah, those are his best friend is named Tails. These are my 3 Sonic facts that I know. I don't have an attachment to Sonic. Not whatsoever. Yeah, there's Knuckles the Echidna, there's Amy Rose, there's the angry
one time
guy.
He kissed a human.
I do know that. I know maybe more than 3 Sonic facts, but like I've never had an attachment to the fella. He's just around. And so this older, weirder Sonic comes out, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I'm not saying I would put my own personal stamp of approval on it, but I see how they got there. I can see the thought process that led to Uncanny Valley Sonic.
Yeah.
Because the Uncanny Valley is what happens when you're trying for something that looks realistic enough to fit with whatever the heck the rest of the tone of the movie is. Again, I'm not saying I would stamp it.
But the tone is cartoony. Like, it's not even realistic in that sense. Like, it's Jim Carrey back to his like over the top comedy style.
No, but think about like the live action Scooby-Doo movie.
Sure.
I think they were going for something kind of like that, where that Scooby-Doo doesn't look like we just copy-pasted the cartoon dog into here with updated graphics. Like, he's got a more realistic design to him. No, you look at cartoon Scooby and you look at, like, CGI Scooby, he is the middle ground between a real big boy, a real Great Dane, and, like, the old cartoon right in the middle, live-action Scooby-Doo, directed by Roger Gosnell. Yeah. I think they were going for that sort of thing with weird old Sonic. Missed it completely, which is easy to do. The Uncanny Valley is deep and wide.
Imagine, though, that they made Scooby with, like, human teeth and, like, some weird, like, hairdo on top of it or something. And it's just like, that's not Scooby. That's not cute. Like, that doesn't, like, where did you, right? Like, that's kind of what happened with Sonic. It was just like, hey, we need to make this more realistic looking or something. And so somewhere along the line, they decided on that, but just like, you look at that and then you look at the original Sonic and they look nothing alike. No. they don't look the same at all.
I like new Sonic. I would agree he is an improvement. I just don't like that the tone has been, oh, every human being alive is furious and terrified at old Sonic, right? And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care what he looks like. I don't care what he does. Just, can we all rest, please?
Yeah.
And hopefully now new Sonic will bring us rest. We will know peace.
Yeah. No, I liked the trailer. I thought it looked a lot bit better. Shout out to all the people who had to, I'm sure, put in a ton of extra hours to fix it and make it work. Because I'm sure that was a nightmare.
Yeah, see, like, this is what I'm like, why I'm trying to be quiet. Like, I don't want to put anybody through a nightmare. A design looks weird. We all have to live with it now. That's what happened. We're going to wrap ourselves in a bed under the covers and rest. We made our beds. We lie now. He just looks like that.
That's the thing. Like, I don't think it was ever about like, oh, we need to go back and like make them change this and like do this stuff. But it was just such a like, that's your design for Sonic. Okay, that's a choice. And they were just like, ooh, you guys don't like it? We're like, yeah, no. And then the like Sonic creator was like, yeah, that's not a good look for Sonic. And they were like, okay, we're sorry.
I am very curious to to learn that deep dive into what this is and exactly how much of the art team was like, oh, thank God I get the opportunity to change it. I can fix that thing they made me do. Great. And which part of them's like, I thought I was done. I thought I could walk away from this job. I don't want to go back. Like, I don't want to do this again.
Or like, was it actually the art team that came up with this? Was it some executive that had to be like, no, he needs to look more muscular and he needs to have human teeth.
He needs to have teeth like me. This is the number one thing it takes for a human being to connect with a character. Teeth like me.
Yeah, it was bad, but
just like when you buy a horse and you open up the horse's mouth and you look at its teeth, just like anytime you're presented with like,
do when you buy a horse.
Look, I have not personally owned a horse. No, I promise you. You wander out onto a farm. You ask them. You look at the horse's teeth before you buy the horse, right? And everybody's like, yeah, you look at the horse's teeth. You look at the horse's teeth.
I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that.
Look at the horse's teeth.
What kind of horses are you buying, Melissa?
I don't own a horse. Where would I put it? Back there? No, horses are loud. This is you look at a horse's teeth. I promise you, this is a normal activity. Looking at a horse's teeth. Google.com.
They did not once do that in Pocahontas. I do not believe this is true. Is that a part of like a horse bar mitzvah? You're like, we can look at your teeth. You're a horse now.
Hold on. Okay. Mouth. You're checking one of the main control points to see if there are any old injuries, odd teeth, or any issues that would affect... Why? I am not being provided a succinct answer, but it is for legitimate reasons. Like looking at a horse tooth, like the state of their dental work can help you tell, like, is this horse healthy? Have they been well fed? Are they as old as the person selling them to me says that they are? There's a real reason to look at horse teeth. If you were buying a horse, but like you and I, we don't need to
count the rings.
Well, now I got two horses for the price of one.
Yeah, right?
What were we talking about before horses?
Good old Sonic.
Okay, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Right.
He had human teeth. But yeah, I'm very curious to find out as the years go on, what is the fallout from this movie? And if culture will look back on this and say...
festival documentary about Sonic.
If culture will look back on this and say, yes, it was good that he went back, you know, I say he as if I'm placing all of this on the shoulders of the director. I'm sure it was a team effort. But like, is it good that the film went back and said, you know what, the fans were right, we'll make it look the way it's supposed to look? Or is this open the door to like... too many cooks in a kitchen? And not to say that like fans shouldn't be able to like encourage certain facets of a representation in this artwork that they love, but like too many cooks in a kitchen, like the more people's voices you have in on something, I feel like something gets lost and it gets kind of muddled, and it's a very delicate balance you have to hit with getting all the right opinions without getting just too many opinions. Too many.
Yeah. It, like, the weird thing is that I'm still struggling with is I don't know if I want to go see it. Like, I'm not a particularly big Sonic fan. I saw that original one and I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm gonna go watch that. But then they've made it look good. Like, the design looks good. The trailer was a lot better. And I kind of want to just go support it to be like, hey, you guys put in a lot of work on this to fix that. And it's just this like cultural moment that I want to be a part of now.
I see where you're
I'm
thinking.
still just like, I don't think I'm gonna like this film, but still.
Yeah, like, I see that standpoint of, after all the work put into it, I would feel bad if this movie bombed.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, again, I'm not a Sonic fan. I don't know if I have any close friends that are Sonic fans. I think it will depend on what other films are we seeing around this. Like, are we just itching to go to the theater to see anything? Do we just miss the theater? Because I'm a fairly frequent moviegoer, and sometimes, you know, if I haven't been in like 6 weeks, 2 months, I'm like, can I just go see something? Like, I just need that theater experience back in my blood again. I'm like, Sonic? Okay, happy Valentine's Day to us.
Yeah. Sam just said, go see Sonic with your sweetheart.
I ain't got one!
And then afterwards, take them out to eat at Sonic.
Oh, what a perfect double date. Do you think...
Double the Sonic, double the fun, if you know what I mean.
I wonder if Sonic restaurants will see an uptick in business around that time from people thinking like, look, they match. Because that's a silly thing I go to all the time. This is why I'm always going to a local movie theater called The Galaxy, because I see so many sci-fi films. I'm like, well, I gotta see it at the one called The Galaxy.
Right. That's fantastic. So I had a weird experience happen to me this week.
A ghost?
Oh, before I mention that, Sam asks, what do you think Sonic's feet smells like? Asking for a friend. This is a shit post. Do not take this seriously. Blueberries.
Just
that's what I think.
Nice, clean like. Hanes socks.
Hanes, with all that running though, would they really be clean?
He's so fast he can swap
like
out
Axe body spray.
No. He's so fast he can swap out to fresh socks all the time and we just don't see him.
True.
In the time you and I have been speaking of this, Sonic has changed into a fresh pair of socks 23 times.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah, so I had something weird happen to me this week that I don't know if I can fully explain. So Are you
good? You still have all your fingers?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been working at the sawmill for 4 whole years. No, so my parents bought me something off of an Amazon wish list.
Yes.
Of mine. They bought me this jean jacket that I am sporting on the
fresh,
nice, video version of this podcast, the whatnauts.com/YouTube, where you can find this. Yeah,
if
right. See here.
Really need to see this jean jacket.
So they bought me this and the headphones that I have on. But Amazon delivered it to the wrong house. Which makes no sense because it was... All right, so they delivered it to my old apartment.
Okay.
So the, first obvious thing would be like, oh, I haven't updated my address on that wish list. Right? Wrong. No. I have, and I did a long time ago, and I double-checked it to make sure. However, they still delivered it to my old house. I don't know why. And it was this weird thing that, like, my mom was like, well, how do we check? How do we fix this? And all of that stuff. So I was like, okay, you can contact customer support and say, hey, it wasn't delivered, or it was delivered to the wrong spot. But it's one of those things that's like, because it was a wish list, my parents weren't able to see the address that it was being delivered to, because that's a safety thing.
Okay.
Right? Just like, hey, we're not going to share our customers' addresses out and stuff like that. So then, like, I think were on the phone with customer support, and then my dad called me and was like, what was the address to your old house? And I had to, like, let them know so they could let them know. And it was just this whole big thing. And yeah, so I went and I picked them up, and I obviously got them. But yeah, like, I don't understand how it happened, because I only have one address in my Amazon account. I've updated the address on the wish list. They have bought me stuff off that wish list before, and it's come to the correct spot. I've bought myself stuff off that wish list, and it's come to the correct spot. The first thing I did when I moved into this house was update my address on the Amazon app, because we were like, oh, we need this thing. We need a rug for the kitchen door and stuff like that. So it's just like, that was the first thing, right? But I don't think I've ever really seen something like that happen, where it seems like it was a glitch in their system, or just like something like that, of just like, hey, something went wrong and we sent it to your old house.
Oh, it happens. Glitches happen. I work in
never
effectively
seen it in that way.
That is a weird one. I work in what is effectively like kind of an admin customer support kind of role, and sometimes a thing just happens and you don't know why. You can't explain it. You talk to your technical contact and they're like, I don't know, but I don't think it'll do it again. Tell me if it does it again. And I'm like, okay. Or sometimes
I've had
like
the exact same thing, because I'm like the email person, and they'll be like, oh my god, it did this one thing. Why is it doing this one thing? What kind of code did you put in there? And I was like, I don't know. That's the same thing I always do. I was like, let me test it again. I didn't do, and it looks totally fine. I was just like, well, somehow it bugged out and did the thing, but it's not
it
doing
happens.
the thing now. I can't replicate it. So
sometimes there's a gremlin. Sometimes there's not a gremlin. That's okay. You got them.
Gremlins.
Did you get everything that they got you?
Those gremlins and those goddamn shelves. Let's see, and because Etsy decided it was my address now, it happened like 3 more times. Oh, that was weird. I just had a glitch on the Twitch chat. Sam, it was missing one of your chats. Like, you know what? I just remembered I had a flub with Etsy. There was just a big empty space there until I hit the chat. It was like, oh, by the way, she also said this. Yeah, so it was sent. They sent your package to a non-existent address.
Just to like
Etsy
avoid
it
Sam?
was my address. It happened multiple times.
No.
That's weird.
How will they deliver you all your crystals?
That's strange. That's kind of like the weird copy of the Great Gatsby.
Yes.
That I have too. That mysterious book that got mailed to
You've
me.
had
And
a
I don't
lot
know
of
who
spooky
mailed
things happen to you.
it. Yeah. Like that one is a strange one because it was just this like one-time thing where like that's the book I had in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they have my new address. Like this isn't something I'm communicating to them or my school, or like there's no like chain of command that my old teacher would somehow be able to get that and mail it to me. But then it was mailed, like the return address on there was a fake address from the middle of nowhere in something, and I was just
Ooh.
like, this is
Oh,
weird.
you got this from a truly secret admirer.
Yeah. Who knows? So, the life of me and the Amazon packages that I get. Worst book ever made.
This is why I like to go out and like purchase something with my own two bare hands. But then I suppose I'm in a greater danger because if the packages get lost, I'm attached to them because I'm holding them and they're in my car, so I'd have to fall into a wormhole.
Actually, weird that you say that because I'm reading some Superman comics where that basically happens.
He tries
all
to
of a
go home
sudden-
from the Bed Bath and Beyond, and suddenly he's in a different state.
Basically, he's sent this villain to the Phantom Zone, and then like a week after that, all of a sudden the entire planet Earth is just in the Phantom Zone, and he's like, wait a minute, this isn't America. Oh god. So yeah, something like that. But it's strange.
Wow.
I've been catching up on a lot of comics.
That's good.
Yeah, I've had a lot. I have the Marvel Unlimited app. I have DC Universe, and I still buy a bunch physically.
Wow.
And I've been letting them stack up for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm like, I kind of want to get these done before winter break.
Oh.
So
Well,
slowly,
then what
but
are you going to
surely,
do
I've
on
been
winter
making way.
break then?
Read something else. Play Pokemon.
I have to finish my reading to do different reading.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
It's a-
get it. I get
it's a
it. I've been
legitimate
in that
concern.
same boat.
That's
Yeah.
why I've never been to these museums. Too many things to read.
I gotta to find out what Superman's gonna do. I can't
Exactly.
stand around looking at up to 8 tanks in a large room that is tank colored.
I have to sit here for a whole month and wait for the next issue to come out, okay? Did I say read Pokemon? Because I meant play.
You could read Pokemon. They got mangas.
Yeah, so not only did Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order come out yesterday, but so did the new Pokemon games. Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Ooh, what's your starter? Do you have
I
it picked out
bought-
yet?
I did. I played like the first 20 minutes, so I picked my starter, and that was about it. I bought Pokemon Sword, and I went with Score Bunny. I'm a fire starter for life.
Have you picked a fire starter in every Pokemon generation that you've played?
Yes.
Wow. I ain't got that
believe
kind of
so.
brand loyalty. I just pick whatever one I think is cutest. I only have cute loyalty.
Team Wink Lizard. Is that what Sobble turns into? Because I still haven't seen the pictures of what he turns into, and I've not heard good things.
He also
but yeah.
has human teeth. I want to
cries a
upgrade
lot.
my
He's a sad
Pokemon with
boy.
human teeth, please.
Inteleon looks like a twink, and I love him. So says Sam.
I don't even know all the new friends. New Pokemon.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of them. The 3 starters are Score Bunny, Sobble, and Garuki.
Oh.
Score Bunny is a fire bunny.
Oh, there they
obviously.
are. That's right.
Sobble is like a little tadpole thing. Or he's like a iguana looking thing.
Yeah. Little lizard.
And then Garuki is a little grass type monkey. There's Wooloo, who is a sheep.
Oh.
And then there's Yamper, who is an electric type corgi.
Oh, the corgis.
And he has a little heart on his butt.
I was watching a choice video about corgi puppies earlier today.
Yeah?
Yeah. They're so small. And like, every once in a while I'll stop and think, this person I knew was a baby once, but I've never done it with an animal. Like, so my brother is a corgi, and I've only known him as like an adult. But I watched this video and I'm like, he was a baby once too. He was puppy. He looked like that. That was him
he was
once.
Mini doggo.
Yeah. They're just like this
little
small.
tiny puppers.
They can't see. They can't hear anything. I don't know what kind of design flaw that is. That a puppy can't hear. And they just work so hard to get up like one step. And then they get big. Like 6 weeks later, like they can run around anywhere
like
they
Luke
want.
Skywalker.
What could I do at 6 weeks old?
You just got that. That hit so late for you. It was great.
It takes him 6 weeks. He gets big. He can open his eyes.
Weird stuff. Well, do you have anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up here?
No, I might look more into this bigger Luke thing, because I now that I've been introduced to the concept, I need to understand it. And I need to understand why people think it happened. Like, what... Like, so if they believe Luke is big sometimes and small other times, why...
Like, what's the purpose behind this?
Is this another, like, Lucas thing? Like, I always wanted a hero.
God damn it, Lucas!
That was, inconsistent heights, I think, just... I always wish I had the money to make him slightly bigger and then slightly smaller again.
So odd.
just big and little. I really like it. I need an entire film where this is truly and deeply done on purpose. And I want it to be a normal film. I want it to be a romantic comedy. Let's say it stars our old buddy Paul Rudd. And sometimes Paul Rudd, normal Paul... Oh, well, because he's Ant-Man. He's already done that. Why don't they do that in Ant-Man 3? Just like... He just shifts
where he
throughout
gets back to normal size, but somehow he got it just slightly wrong, so he's like 3 inches shorter.
And he just keeps shifting. It's like his entire height is on a dimmer switch. And like every scene, he's just like a couple inches off from one scene to the next.
Yeah.
In one scene, Evangeline Lilly's like 9 feet tall.
Like, stop. Oh, where like, weren't you up here last time?
What a truly haunting thing to have happened to you.
He's like, shut up. Performance anxiety, okay?
It's like that prank you'd play on like I've never known a real person to play this prank. I think this is only in stories where like you buy you replace everybody's clothes. You replace that person's clothes with the exact same clothes in a different size. So they think they're like gaining or losing weight.
Yeah.
These pranks that I think only existed for Jim to play on Dwight, and I don't think have happened in the real world. What's the most bananas prank you've ever played on someone? Any? Ever?
I'm not much of a prankster.
Your trickster god years are yet to come.
I mean, we did the like raids and stuff at my church camp and stuff.
That's
like
good though. That's more than I've ever done.
Yeah, we did the like Texas Chainsaw Massacre to the girls' cabin that one time where we got the guy who worked there at the camp to help us like scare the girls' maintenance staff, and he brought a fucking chainsaw without the chain, turned it on, and started like sticking it inside their windows and stuff like that. And we're like, what the hell are you doing? We didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, I would imagine that would turn you off from future pranks.
It was wild though.
Yeah, I always just do like the goofy. Well, I haven't the last couple of years, but I do like the goofy April's Fool's Photoshop where it's like, here's a picture of me and my new boyfriend, and it's me and the Hamburglar. I had a couple others for a run of years, and that's the only one I remember.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have any.
I have antics that weren't pranks. Like, I don't think making that mix CD for Daniel Torrington was a prank because we meant it all sincerely.
Yeah. I think the biggest prank that someone close to me did ended up being more of just like a jerk move. There was someone that I knew that convinced this girl that he was married and like held it up for like 6 months.
What?
And just like casually chatting, and like when he was doing it, he was like 18, so he like was just like, oh yeah, I got married last year, all that stuff. We got married really young and stuff, and just like kept it up for 6 months. And then, like, eventually, like, told her, and she was just like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
That is chilling.
It's just, like, it was so bizarre. Because it's not even a funny thing to do. And, like, it was something that we saw him, or, like, we knew he was doing it for, like, the first week that he was doing it. It's like, oh, that's just James making up this stupid stuff. And then I guess we all forgot about it and didn't realize that he was like
believing he had a wife.
Just like we just forgot that he was doing it, and then it turns out, like, we found out 6 months afterwards he was still up to it. We're like, dude, you gotta stop. Like, this is not good.
You need to move. You need to give this up. Move to a different state. I think, Maryland is pleasant.
Yeah, that was strange.
Weird
thing.
Kids, these are the lessons to take home with you. Always check your horse's teeth and don't lie about being married.
Make sure Luke is the same height.
Yeah, make sure you're not getting shorted on the amount of
Lukes
Luke
in your
that
life
you
are the same size as they were last time you saw them.
Make sure you're not being shorted on the amount of Luke that you paid for. Like, if you buy a foot-long corn dog, make sure they're not giving you 11.5 inches.
That's good advice in general. For multiple things. If you catch my drift.
Get what you pay for. Check your horse's teeth, and literally and metaphorically. Check your Sonic's teeth. Check your Sonic's teeth for health.
Oh no, we should end it there.
Okay, good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, a little bit of housekeeping.
Oh yes.
We have multiple podcasts and stuff like that. So if you like what we do here, go check out our website, thewhatnauts.com, to learn more about our other podcasts. Or you can search The Whatnauts on your podcasting platform of choice. And if you like what we do and you want to support us, patreon.com/thewhatnauts is where you can do that. You guys can get early access to episodes. You can get all sorts of exclusive content, which we just got done recording a new exclusive episode of the Captain's Log. I still need to get that up. By the time this goes public, it will already be up. So go check that out. $3 tier on our Patreon gets all the exclusive content. But also, big shout out to Sam and Christine. Thank you so much for helping us out at the $5 tier on our Patreon and helping us cover some of our costs and stuff. It means a lot. So thank you. That being said, Melissa.
Yes.
What are you up to these days on the interwebs, and where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. I haven't posted them yet, but go look at my Instagram to find pictures of this cool museum.
There you go. That should be fun. You guys can find me at Kyle Springer on Twitter and Instagram. You guys can find us at the Whatnauts on Twitter for all of our updates there. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. If you can rate us or review us on iTunes or something like that, if you have some nice things to say about our show, that would help us out a ton. Please go do that and help us out. That would be lovely. This has been episode 75 of the Captain's Log.
Oh, big
we
one.
Will get out of here. Yeah.
Big-ish.
3 whole quarters. 3 whole
Almost
quarters.
enough for a big gulp.
Yeah. That being said, let's get out of here. We will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out our show. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a comment below. Maybe say something like what you thought McClunky should have meant within Star Wars canon, something like that. Who knows? In the meantime, go subscribe to our channel right up here in this corner, and go watch one of our other videos right down there, because we got tons more for you guys to check out. And with that, we will get out of here. So, see you next time.